Welcome back to the vlog. Today is a $300 buy-in at the 1-3 game, and it is a super session, a mega session, the longest session I've ever played in by far. We're gonna go through the beginning really fast. It's 9:05 p.m. I win, I lose, I win, I lose, I win, I lose. You get the point. Over 12 hours, I'm gonna play a lot of hands. Don't worry, I go over all the good ones. I change tables, and maybe that's what I needed because I pick up pocket kings in the cutoff. There's a button strat on the pot. It's a short-handed game. The under the gun player limps. I'm gonna bump it up, make it 20. The big blind defends. The under the gun player completes for 14. Three-way action to the flop, $67 in the pot, and the dealer puts out 4 queen jack. No ace on the board. It's a rainbow flop. My kings are looking solid. Checks me. I'm going to continue betting. I make it 20, and the big blind ships it all in. $68. I make the call. 203 in the pot. We're going to a 2-card run out. The turn is terrible. The queen, and then the river is a 6 of clubs. Surely he has a queen going all in, but no, he flips over pocket 10s. I show my kings, and it's going to be good scooping the pot. 415 in my stack. And the next hand I pick up is pocket 10s in the small blind. There's another button straddle on the pot. The cutoff limps in, and I open the action to $25. The button makes the call. The cutoff comes along, 78 in the pot. And the flop comes out 8-10-4. Top set on the board. 2 clubs. Flush and straight draws possible. I lead out a rather small bet. I wish I would have sized up larger. Maybe half pot with 2 players still in. But I only go 20. The button steps up, takes care of my mistake, and makes it 55. Looking at this hand right now, I think I probably should have just pressed him when I do flop top set, and there are draws possible. It can get a lot worse before it gets better. I don't put in the raise, though. I just make the call, putting $35 in the pot. We're headed to the turn, and it's the queen of clubs. Once again, a queen comes to ruin my day, or at least I think. Straight and flush draws get there. Now I'm turning off the offensive, going on the defensive. I check to the button, and he bets 90. I have to call. I could always boat up on the river. The river comes out. It's the 6 of clubs. Not a paired board in sight, but definitely clubs in sight. 4 of them on the board, none of them in my hand. I'm a sitting duck. I click check fold. Luckily, my opponent checks back. Flips over 7-5 of diamonds. Oh my god. Hit his gut shot on the river. How disgusting. I want to puke. I want to go take a shower. Let's move on to the next hand. 246 in my stack. I rebuy for 54. In for 354. Once again, time continues to tick by. Not much happens. Win it up a little bit and a little bit more. Lose it back down. It's now 3:17 a.m. in the morning. And I pick up another pair in the small blind. This time pocket queens. There's another button straddle on the pot. The low jack has limped. The cutoff comes along as well. I'm going a little bit bigger. 40 to go. The only player that wants to call is the button. We're headed to the flop. Heads up. Almost 1 Benjamin in the pot. And the flop comes out 4 jack and an ace. Oh my goodness. These pairs are being very difficult on me today. Regardless, I'm going to continue betting from the small blind. I make it 30. The button comes along. The turn pairs is a jack. Now jacks beat me. Aces beat me. Diamonds or clubs are probably going to beat me on the river. I check to the button. He bets a very meager $30. Bringing the pot to 185. I have quite the odds to call. But I just don't feel like calling. I don't think I'm winning. I just throw my hand away in disgust. I rebuy back in for 68. Topping off to 300, in for 422. If you want to support the channel, please hit that like button for the algorithm. It really helps me grow, really helps show my channel to new viewers. Thank you so much. Let's get back to the action. The next hand I pick up is ace queen of diamonds in the small blind again. Playing a lot of hands out of position sets me up to a big disadvantage right off the bat. One of the biggest changes in making my game better is when I realize the value of position. There's another button straddle on the pot. The cutoff limps, and once again, I'm opening. If you notice over the last few vlogs, I never limp. If I'm coming in the pot, I'm going to be opening. The big blind makes the call. The cutoff comes along as well. 1-1-1 for some fun in the pot, and the flop comes out jack 4 jack. I'm being haunted by jacks. Haunted by queens when I don't have them. The cutoff bets 50. At this point, I'm kind of frustrated with how the session's going. I also don't believe that my opponent has a jack. I could have the best hand. I'm drawing to the nut flush. I have 2 overs. I make the call. The turn is the 10 of hearts, just as I suspected when I checked to my opponent. He slows down, opening the window up for me to take a stab at it. Hopefully there's a good river. It's the 10 of clubs. My ace has beautiful showdown value. I could just check here, not risk any more money, and still scoop the pot, but instead I decide to fire. 215 straight into the middle. 426 in the pot. Does the cutoff want to put all his chips in? I know he doesn't have a jack. He probably doesn't have a 10. He probably doesn't have an ace. I probably have the best hand. I probably should have not made this bet. but it's going to work anyway. He folds. Scooping another pot. My patience in the session is finally starting to pay off. 455 in my stack. I'm back up above water. I decide to straddle this time. Everyone else is doing it. I toss my $6 out there, daydreaming about maybe scooping a big pot sometime in the near future. 455 on my stack, and I pick up pocket sevens. The hijack limps. The cutoff limps. The small blind completes. I could definitely bump this up on the button straddle, but I kind of already have the 6. Maybe if I had 9s or better. 7s is fine to just check, in my opinion, in this situation. See if you hit your set. If you do, there's already going to be a pot that's slightly built, and you're going to be able to build it. I check. We go to the flop. 3-7-6. Once again, I hit top set for the second time today. First time didn't work out so well. The cutoff bet's 15. There's a lot of players in this pot. I should bet big to deny equity. But I'm going to continue being a passive pansy. I just make the call. The small blind comes along right away. Actions to the hijack. He has no problem making the call. 4-way action to the turn. 85 in the pot. I'm praying that the board pairs. I definitely don't want to see a 4 or an 8. And it comes a 7 of hearts. The last 7 of the deck. I can't believe it. 4 of a kind, baby. Come at me. I have the absolute nuts. It's almost a family pot. The small blind and big blind check. The hijack checks. The cutoff slides in. A stack of reds bet 60. I don't think that this is the time to raise it. Definitely on the flop it was. Now, I'm playing it cool. I just make the call. Unfortunately, the other 3 players fold behind. We're headed heads up to the river. It's the deuce of diamonds. I now definitely have the nuts. My opponent isn't phased, but he's not being too aggressive. Sticking with the small 60 bet. And that's not good enough for me. Not good enough for me at all. I'm taking it as a sign of weakness. I don't want to put my entire stack in. I don't want to scare him away. I want to tempt him in. Price him perfectly. Set that hook right in his cheek. I slide 264 in the pot. 204 for him to call. He really mulls over it a long time. I'm sitting there. I've got my poker face on. It's tough to hide the excitement behind the quad 7s, but no problemo for me. I'm grunting, moving around in my chair. Please, sir, show mercy. Don't call. The player's on the brink. He wants to fold. He wants to call. He's not sure what he's going to do. I grab my cards, kind of move them around like, oh, just tossing them away all muck. I'll just take what's in the middle. But really, in my heart, I want him to ship it all in. Unfortunately, he doesn't ship it all in. But fortunately, he does make the call. It's a $700 pot. Flip over my hand as soon as I possibly can to show him that he is more than dead. He's 6 feet under. Finally, after hours of play, I finally have some forward momentum after a table change to a short-handed table. I trade in 500 red for green, starting to celebrate Christmas early, and then the table breaks. I have to rack up my chips and move to a new table. I start off in not such a good seat. I win it up just a little bit more to $8.99. I move to the 3 seat, and then I pick up pocket jacks in the big blind. This is a pocket pair special today. Thunder gun bets 10. The cutoff makes the call. The button comes along. I'm going to make it much bigger than 10. I just saw him 55. None of the players are phased. The undergun and cutoff both make the call. And then the button rips his whole stack in. 39 more. Doesn't cover my bet. So there's going to be a side pot. And the flop comes out 5, jack, 9. And I hit my top pair of jacks. 3rd top pair today. What is going on? What is happening? Hours of waiting with amazing hands sprinkled in every once in a while. I guess that's how poker goes. The run good is real good right now. I'm going to continue betting 30 into the pot. I'm licking my lips, buttering up my biscuit, hoping that I can just add on to my castle. The undergun player makes the call. So does the cutoff. We're headed 3 ways to the turn, and it's the king of clubs. There are straight possibilities out there. 10 queen would be a sinker for me. Club draws it out live. I'm going to push out a stack. I make it 120. It's less than a half-size pot bet. Still, I could have even gone bigger, I think. The cutoff is the only player that makes the call. And the river is the 2 of diamonds. Pretty clean. Good enough for me. I'm going to go for a big bet this time. $325. Send it out in greens. The cutoff thinks about it. He's straight across the table as the crow flies. I'm looking at those chips, wishing that I had a chip magnet to just pull him over to my side. If he wants to go over the top of me, he has the chips to do it. I could be in big trouble, but I got to go for value. I got to put the pressure on him, and I got to put in a chunk of change that I think he'll call. He does call. I flip over my jacks. Are they going to be good? He's taking his time. He hasn't mucked. He picks up at his hand, but he tosses it in face down. My jacks are good. I'm scooping the largest pot of the night up to 1648. Before I can even stack my chips, I'm tossed another banger, ace king. I 3-bet pre-flop and have to throw it away on the queen high flop when seat 1 goes all in. I trade in 500 more reds for greens, 1563 in my chip stack, and I get tossed 10-8 of clubs under the gun. There's a button star on the pot. I'm going to see if my heater is still keeping the house warm. I make it 20. The cutoff makes the call. The button defends his straddle. Three-way action to the flop. It is 9-4 deuce, no clubs. I'm going to continuation bet, though. I make it 35. Only the cutoff wants to come along. The turn comes to 10 of hearts, giving me the top pair. I was bluffing on the flop, but now I'm betting for value. I make it 70, and the cutoff doesn't want to play. Scooping the pot up to 1642. And once again, the very next hand, before I can even stack my chips, 4 deuce offsuit in the big blind. The middle position player makes it 10. The button calls. The small blind defends. For only $7 more, I might as well see the flop. I make the call, and the flop comes out 10, deuce, 3. I paired my deuce. The button bets 15. The small blind makes the call. I guess I'll tag along with my pair. The turn connects. It's the 4. I now have 2 pair. It is a mildly connected board. I have to tread carefully, especially when the button bets 116, and the small blind just flat calls. I could overthink this, or I could just close my eyes and ship it all in. That's what I do. 263. The button's already all in. The small blind makes the call. 727 in the pot. Will I win this one? Will my chip stack grow even bigger? The river's the 8 of spades. The flush gets there, but my opponent doesn't have the flush. She flips over 6-5 for the straight. My 4 was her 4 as well, but it gave her the better hand. 1354 in my stack. I pick up ace king, scoop a pot, win a few more small hands up to 1501, and I pick up pocket kings on the button. The last 40 minutes has been a wild ride. The pocket kings are going to decide the hour. There's a straddle on the pot. The middle position limps, and of course I'm going to bump the action up. I make it 20. The small blind makes the call. The under the gun defends his straddle, and then the middle position rips his whole stack in. It's only $32. Unfortunately, it's only $12 more to me. Not enough for me to raise on top. I wish I could. I have to make the call knowing that the small blind and under the gun are going to complete behind me. We're going 4 ways to the flop. $131 in the pot. And it comes out 2 king jack. Oh my God. 4th top set today. What the hell is happening? I guess this is what happened when you sit on your ass for 12 hours instead of sleep. I open the action to 60. The small blind is the only player that wants to make the call. The turn is the 3 of diamonds. And this time the small blind rips his whole stack all in 282. I have to be nervous about the diamonds, but I don't have to be nervous about anything else. There's no way I'm folding this. I've got plenty of chips behind it. If I lose, I make the call. And the river comes out. It's the queen of spades. It doesn't give me a full house, but I don't need a full house. This small blind flips over ace jack. Paired the jack on the flop. Hit the nut flush draw on the turn. I'm raking in a giant leaf pile. Trade another 500 red for greens. 1919 in my stack. My goal is on the $2,000 mark. I fold away some junkers. Don't have to wait long because I pick up pocket kings again in the cutoff. I open the action to 15. It's only a 5-handed game. The button, the small blind and big blind call. 60 in the pot, and the flop comes out 10-8-8. Low cards are good. The pair on the board is not so great. Of course, I'm going to continue betting for value. I make it 30. And only the small blind wants to come along. The turn comes the 5 of spades. And once again, I'm going to bet for value. When it checks to me, I make it 40. And the small blind tags along. Doesn't bump up the pot, making me think that he probably has a 10 rather than an 8. And the river comes out. It's the king of diamonds. 5th top set today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to just go ahead and take a bow. I don't hit bottom set. I don't hit that nasty middle nonsense. I hit top set and top set only, baby. This time I'm going to go for another value bet at targeting the 10. I don't think I can get his whole stack, but I do think I can get about 80 bucks. Unfortunately, I can't even get that. He mucks his hand, and we're going on to the next one.
This guy with his kings.
What the hell? Oh, him. Again.
Scooping that pot. The dealer tosses me a card, and I look down again at pocket kings. Unfortunately, I just scoop a small one. And then I get dealt a beauty, but unfortunately, I have to fold it after 3-betting pre-flop. Down to 1949, and I pick up pocket queens. Not as good as the kings, but I'll have to settle for them. As long as I hit top set at some point, I'll be happy. I open the action for 15. The low jack cutoff and button come along. 4 players to the flop, and it comes 7-6 ace. I hate to see the ace. I've been running so good this session, I can't be that upset. I'm going to continuation bet on it. I make it 25 in both the cutoff and the big blind call. The turn is the 7 of clubs, setting me up for my full house on the river. I'm going to continue betting. I make it 75. I'm betting 75 once again as though I have an ace, although with the 7 on the board, I might slow down. And plus, this is a better move if there's only 1 player in the pot. 2 players in the pot, I'm definitely crushed by 1. The cutoff makes the call. And then the big blind puts in a raise, 260. Of course, my queens have shriveled up to deuces at this point, and I just muck the hand. 1834 in my stack, and I pick up ace-10 offsuit in the cutoff. There's an under the gun straddle. The middle position player bumps it up to 16, and I'm going to come along. The button comes along as well. The small blind and big blind defend. The under the gun protects the straddle. The flop comes out 6 ace 5. I pair my ace. My kicker is decent, but there's a lot of players in this pot. The big blind bets 45. The middle position calls. I'm just going to call, see what develops. The small blind makes the call as well. Still 4 players in the hand, and the pot's already at $276. The turn is the king of clubs. It's not a diamond, so that's good. It doesn't bring in a straight or a flush, so that's good. And it checks through to me, which is good as well. Everyone knows I'm running hot. I'm trying to use this to my advantage. I bet 175. It folds around the small blind, and the small blind likes his hand good enough to go all in, 246. I don't like the position I'm in, but it's only 71 for me to call. I'm probably behind. I probably need to catch a 10 on the river, but I make the call. And the river comes out to 4 of diamonds. My opponent flips up ace queen of clubs. Had me crushed the whole way. I walked straight into that one. I could have played it a lot slower, a lot smarter. I'm going the wrong direction, down to 1527. I realize my decision making has gone out the window. I'm playing too aggressive, playing with winner's tilt. I decide this is it, time to get out of here. I rack up my chips and head to the cage after half a day to turn them into cold, hard cash. In for 422, out for 1510 for a profit of $1,088. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Kato out.